Hi everyone, this is Astera. How are you? Today I'm back with my series on resilience and I want to talk about change. As we all know, change is one of the two things in life that are constant, and of course the other one is taxes. That's an old joke. But that means that we face changes on a daily basis, and in fact we actually do. But those changes that we face every day, they are quite often quite small. We know how to adapt to them swiftly. We have the necessary strategies, and they are not really threatening. We don't see those changes as something that can threaten us in any way. If you think about your work environment, these sort of changes can include some rescheduling of your diary, maybe focusing on some other tasks on a particular day that you thought before you would be focusing on, or maybe you are asked by your boss to switch between different assignments because the priorities have changed. But you know how to adapt to this kind of changes. They sometimes may be a bit stressful, but usually they are not really very threatening. And even if we don't like those changes, we know that they are just a part of our life. And then it's the same in personal life. For example, sometimes you need to go instead of your spouse and pick up your kids from some extracurricular activities, and that may be not very convenient to you. Maybe that was something unexpected, but you usually know how to handle this sort of situations. So these kind of changes are quite small. They don't really affect us in a very negative way. But sometimes it happens that we face a major life change. And those changes come unexpectedly, out of the blue. They are usually not very pleasant. They may be threatening to our health, family status, or social status. And usually we don't know how to deal with them, how to adapt to the changing environment quickly. We may not have the necessary tools, like strategies. Maybe we don't have enough skills, maybe we don't have enough resilience. And that all makes those life changes to be perceived as something threatening. And that's quite normal, because we human beings, we prefer environments that do not change a lot. We prefer our comfort zone and those environments that have lots of certainty. And this is just as it is, because in a familiar, quite stable environment, we know how to function on a daily basis. We have the necessary strategies to adapt and to move on with our lives. But then when we face a major life change, that can be different things. That can be an unexpected accident, maybe some family issues, or a breakup, or some problems in your relationship. You may lose your job, but you may also face illness. And that kind of changes, they usually turn your life upside down, and we don't like it. These kind of changes are not pleasant, they are unexpected. Pretty often they may be permanent. Something may have ended with that change, something that is not coming back to our life or changes completely. And at that point we may see that this sort of change is just a pure threat, because we don't know what to do in that kind of situation. We don't have the strategies, we may not have the tools, we may not have the skills, and we may not really have the experience to adapt swiftly to that kind of major life changes. And that's why the majority of us do not really think about those changes as something that can be beneficial for our growth. But sometimes it's only because we can't see those benefits at that particular time when the change happens. If you think about the situation when you have lost your job, that can be something which is definitely not pleasant. You may not have expected losing your job, and you may have difficulties to start looking for another job. You may not know how to do that properly, so you need to adapt. And you see that your life has changed and that this was very threatening to you. But on the other hand, your job that you lost might have been quite boring. Maybe your career was already stalled, you were not going anywhere career-wise, and the only thing that you enjoyed in that job was the stability that you had, which was pretty much about the paycheck that you got at the end of each month. But you preferred to stay in that job because it gave you this certainty and it outweighed the negatives of that job. But then, you lost it and you had to move on. And then you found another job, maybe after a month or a couple of months, and then it turns out that you actually enjoy this job more. It's much more interesting than your previous job, and suddenly your career starts to move in the right direction. And then at that point you actually start to think that this life change that you didn't really like when it happened, that it was something that benefited you in the end. And that's this sort of mindset that we should adapt when we think about change if we want to boost our resilience. Because we can't become more resilient if we see every life change as a threat. Only if we approach those life changes with an open mind and think of the possibility that even those negative life changes bring something nice to our life, but we may not yet know about that, what it is. Only with this sort of mindset we can work and build our resilience. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye.